really attracted to salmonella, not specifically salmonella, but food from pathogen. And I found the differences in serotypes really drew my attention to look deeper into this microbe and see if the differences within had any impact on its survival.
How you doing, sir? What was the most surprising thing you witnessed, experienced during this season of your research?
Yeah, the most surprising thing was seeing that there's very little variability in its absorption capacity. I would imagine because they're categorized in different groups, they have different performances in their absorption bindings. So I was just blown away with the extravagant amount of information I was able to derive from it.
Awesome. If you had any advice for a first-time, not even McNair, researchers coming to their poster presentation, what do you want to tell them?
Well, be confident in the work you present. Remember that you're the expert, you conducted the work, you're fully competent and capable. As long as you're able to speak with efficiency, fluidity, and confidence overall. I believe in you. Keep going.
Hey, how's it going?
Good, how are you?
Nice to meet you.
I'm Mackenzie.
Mackenzie, what are you researching today?
Yeah, so I'm exploring the impact of anxiety on adaptive functioning in undergraduates. Now, everyone's experienced anxiety at one point or another, but to address the emerging adult ages 18 to 29, there's been an upward trend from around 2007 to 2013. A lot of people attribute that to the internet, but since the global pandemic in 2020, that has increased by 50%. Prevalence is important to address, but in addition, it's important to address the impact on adaptive functioning. Now, adaptive functioning describes a person's ability to partake in everyday life skills and tasks. And so, it's often used to classify disabled versus able-bodied individuals. And so, in order to investigate that question, we're using the two-component model of anxiety, looking at the physiological symptoms of anxiety. So that's like racing heart, sweaty palms, and the cognitive symptoms of anxiety. So that's like rumination and worry. Now, in order to investigate this, we chose moderating factors. So for physiological, we chose autonomic symptoms, and that's your fight or flight responses. And then cognitive flexibility, which is going to be your openness to experience and your ability to ebb and flow with situations. Now, we have a pretty high end in hopes of doing this functional equation model with moderated path analysis, depending on how many people we get. And so we're going to look at an increase in anxiety causing a decrease in adaptive functioning. And then for the cognitive flexibility, we're hoping that that increase in anxiety is attenuating that relationship, so it kind of evens out your adaptive functioning. And for physiological symptoms, that increase in anxiety is going to cause an increase in those autonomic symptoms of anxiety, which will create more of a deficit in adaptive functioning. Additionally, we're looking at the secondary relationship of the impact of anxiety on self-report physical health symptoms, so headaches, stomach aches, and your ability to use cognitive flexibility to reason with yourself and say, this is a headache because I'm dehydrated, not because I have a brain tumor. And so these are the measures we're using. I have 3 measures of anxiety, and we're using state and trait for anxiety. And then we're using the World Health Organization disability assessment that shows with stress symptoms. And then we're using a measure for cognitive flexibility and a measure for autonomic symptoms and a validity check because undergraduates are unreliable. Now, this is just my study design, but I do have preliminary findings because we only have 200 participants right now.
Awesome. Mind if I take a closer look?
Yes.
Let's see what we got.
So these are going to be the box plots looking at the sex effects of anxiety on 3 different scores. And then this shows the linear regression. And with a significant p-value and a high r-value on all 3 scales of anxiety, it's showing very promising results for this relationship here. Now, hopefully with a bigger N, we'll be able to investigate the operating factors. If you have any questions, references are here. Feel free to connect with me as well.
Mackenzie, if you had any advice for any McNair scholars leading up to their poster presentation, what would you say to them?
Yeah, so I would say that keep in mind, no matter who comes to your poster, like you are your master of your subject. Like you've researched it the most, you know it inside and out, so bring that confidence to the table and be able to communicate your science.
Thank you so much. this whole season of your research, what has been the most surprising thing that you've observed either in the research or outside?
I would say outside the research.
Okay.
So when I started this research, I hadn't taken vibrations yet. I hadn't done a lot of like of my core classes yet to actually understand what I was doing. So they were kind of like teaching me ahead of my course. Now when I actually got into class, like they were talking about eigenvalues and eigenvectors. Any other class, I would have been like, okay, another thing to learn. But I was so excited because that actually applied to my research. It was something I didn't understand yet. That I'm like, oh my god, I'm finally gonna learn. And I was so excited for that class for that reason. So like, research had a huge impact on my academic motivation. And that changed a lot.
And if you were to, I don't know, say I'm new to all this, and I'm thinking about joining the McNair Scholars Program.
Okay.
What's your advice for my first poster presentation or any sort of research week, any sort of presentation? What would you like to tell them?
I'd say don't forget to have fun. It's important to explain it well, but also explain what you're excited about. Explain what got you into it. Like connect with the people. You know, they might be, a mathematics major. And to this is just like, okay, I learned a little bit about that in class. It's like, okay, but guess what? You can apply that real world, and it has bigger applications. So have fun with the people. Talk to them about their experiences and try to rope it in. Just have fun with it. Just talk to people. It's really all about sharing, and it's not just a one-way street. It's a street. So you're learning a little bit about them. You get to share your research, but you also get to learn about other people.
And go to France.
And go to France.
Go to France.
That was so much fun. I had it was so great.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Yeah, of course.